So obviously, the majority of the people who learn about the Chinese social credit score are terrified when they find out the details. They know it is wrong and they know that it should be condemned. It, of course, is a system like a credit card score system for citizens' behaviors, and the government deems your behavior either good or bad for society, rewarding you with, of course, privileges and hurting you for, of course, bad behavior in, of course, a poor score and loss of privileges that has already led to millions of people being stopped from traveling, from getting on airplanes, from getting high speed internet, from even sending their kids to a good school, all because the government says we don't think your behavior is good. And of course, that behavior is questioning the government and questioning any authority. Now, obviously, a lot of people see that this is wrong, but don't understand that this is ultimately a test and a bigger blueprint for, of course, the Western world, not only with your iPhones, but also specifically with the latest developments that are happening right now in Japan and, of course, Canada that are absolutely terrifying and read out like they are from Minority Report. If you haven't seen that movie, it is becoming more of a documentary than, of course, a fiction film. Now, Jason, what's the latest that is happening with this technological advancement of pre crime reporting in Japan?
Well, Luke, it's pretty astonishing that we finally gotten to the level that CCTV camera footage that's already in place throughout the Western world, throughout places like Japan and China, are now being utilized by software to identify people who are sweating, fidgeting, acting in an unsure manner, and basically mapping out these behavior patterns to spot pre crime before they actually shoplift. And when you look at this information, this is going to go way beyond Japan, as the Gartner report, and I know a lot of people are not familiar with what that is, but that's a big data and analytics company, has been predicting this for years and saying we are right now on the cusp of it being initiated.
And people need to understand that private corporations like Amazon, which are really big, huge monopolies and becoming monopolies that you can't ignore, they're really on the forefront of this as Amazon is building facial recognition AI technology that they're not only giving to local police departments, but also ICE here in the United States. And this is why there's even Amazon stores right now that have no cashiers, and you could just pick whatever up you want and walk out very conveniently. Of course, this big tech surveillance is being sold to you for your safety, for your convenience, and it's absolutely the total opposite of that. And to understand that, you just have to understand history and the horrible past that has been very common in our human existence, that government usually doesn't care about your safety or your convenience. They care about power and holding on to power, which brings me to what's happening in Canada, which was an original report done by Dan Dix of pressfortruth.ca that reported on this first, talking about how now in Canada, there is a database that is tracking people's negative behaviors for a quote risk database. This is another technological advancement already in place that people don't even know about. People don't even talk about. That, of course, has records from the police officers, social services, health workers, and more, a huge database on you to see if you are a risk to society. Again, this is, again, sold to you, safety, convenience. In reality, it is nothing but. China is the perfect example of that because, again, it is used against people who are smoking in non-smoking areas, people who are jaywalking, people who spit their gum out. And some people say, yeah, this is a great way to have a perfect, amazing society. But again, that's totally, absolutely insane argument. The bigger argument that needs to be made here is, of course, the political aspect that is being used against journalists and other people who are trying to hold government and power authority, who are getting punished by these Chinese systems. And if you think it won't happen here, holy cow, you are naive as I don't know what to even say, Jason.
No, absolutely, Luke. This is a pattern, and Japan, Canada,
Even
any
your iPhone,
Western country.
without even people knowing it, the iPhone also tracks the conversations you have, rates them, and you can't even see it. You're not even privy to that information. So this, again, the form of slavery could come in two main ways: the government or the kind of private corporate sector. This is why we call out both. This is why we're not left or right, because that's pretty much the main kind of dichotomy here. You're either with the privatization of corporations or you're with the public and the government. No, it's all a big scam, because the bigger thing here is centralization. When you have so much centralization, when you have so much power, when you have so much information to literally have pre-crime reported, to literally have a rating system in check, this is terrifying. And this is the thing, people need to wake up. Look what's happening to certain members of society that doesn't like their political ideas here in the United States. Some people are being turned off from even having a bank account with Chase Manhattan going after specific right wingers, PayPal going after, of course, people that don't like Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all banning people, erasing them for being able to exist in this new digital day and age. And people need to realize this social rating system is in the United States, but it's in the hands of a few tech monolith companies and yuppies up in Silicon Valley that decide, oh, you have the right to speak or not in this larger public discourse, or even financially exist, which is crazy.
Yeah, and when you start talking about the data that's harnessed and whether it should be government or privatized, let's be honest, they share it with one another. And all of this
The
big
Five Eyes
data,
Treaty, which people need to look up. Sorry, Jason, go ahead.
no, all of this big data, ever since even the late 90s has been funneled through national security apparatuses. And a lot of this was confirmed with the Snowden leaks. Now, if you want to look at a consumer level, Luke, today I had a conversation with one of my longtime friends who's actually a car salesman. And he admitted to me that the margins on sales of cars are so minimal that they are now making more money by people unknowingly enrolling in programs in which their cars track, trace, and database their entire lives. In other words, every mile, every drive, how fast they're going, what towns they're going through their GPS. This is all sold big data style, and it's that profit that car dealerships are actually making their money on, selling other people's information on the cars they've already sold them.
Yep, that's the big kind of financial interest. It's not advertisements, it's you. You are the product. When something is free, you are the product. You are being sold here with your private information, and people need to realize you're being surveilled more than you think, and you don't even know about it or even see it. And the ways that this kind of technological advancement is congruing with our society, it is terrifying, and people need to realize and wake up where this is going and stop supporting companies like Amazon and understand where the trend is going, which is where it is in China right now, where even we have a New York Post article right now, and this is just total blatant propaganda, and their headline here is "Believing conspiracy theories might make you a criminal." Study. What? I mean, this is the most asinine article that you could imagine. Maybe we could even do a whole video just about this article, but it says, go figure, if you're a birther or a 9/11 denier, chances are that you aren't much fun to be around. Like, again, conspiracy theory, the term was weaponized by the CIA, used by the CIA to discredit people, especially after JFK. But they're saying people who question things are more inclined to actively engage in antisocial behavior. So we're seeing this. Oh, are you going to be antisocial in China or Japan or Canada? Well, now the police are going to be watching you, tracking you, watching every step of the way, really towards, oh, you know what? You don't even have to be guilty of a crime. We're going to arrest you before you commit a crime, allegedly. And the potential of misuse for this are so blatant. I mean, bring on the Terminator Society, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the whole thing. This is far worse than that dystopian film that we will and are dealing with right now.
Yeah, Luke, and when you read this thing, it's absolutely unbelievable. Again, if you question 9/11, and we've already known they lied to us for almost 2 decades about just the Saudi Arabian role. I mean, that's confirmed, but if you question that, you're a 9/11 denier. And then you're associated with people that believe that aliens built the pyramids. And if you question anything about Obama's birth certificate or his identity or the fact that he was named Barry Soetoro and came up, pretty westernized, you're a birther. So all these little terms, it's just like when me and you started questioning 9/11 back in 2004, 2005. There wasn't a term for it. And we talked about 9/11 truth now and let's investigate. And they made it into a truther. And now if you're a truther, well, you're not just questioning 9/11, Luke, and it's not a negative connotation towards that. You believe in the flat earth. It's or crisis actors. So they've done a very good job in trying to smear these terms, but the bottom line is more people are asking questions than ever before, and that's why they have to come up with nonsense headlines like this one.
Yeah, it's psychological warfare. It's disinformation meant for you not to get the bigger picture here, not to act accordingly. And of course, these messages are very supposedly controversial. This is why we were one of the first YouTube channels to get censored. This is why we're still dealing with demonetizations and other crazy algorithm changes. This is why people can't even interview me and put my name into YouTube. Their videos and channels get demonetized right away. Absolutely insane technocratic Chinese social credit score that we already live in, and it will get worse until we wake up and start taking the right actions, not to incentivize them. This is why, again, the time is now to really take away this trajectory towards this Terminator enslavement path and put it towards one of decentralization, of freedom, of liberation, and of privacy. That's going to be the key issue that a lot of people will not talk about on the corporate mainstream media, including CNN, where they have their anchors eat human brain and literally speculate about black holes swallowing airplanes in Malaysia. That's what they do. That's okay. They're fine. They're fine by all their rules. This is why they don't care about the truth. This is why this is all just a big power grab. Don't let them grab you. Wake up, pay attention. Don't buy on Amazon. And again, thank you for allowing us to have this voice with independent media with your support. Stay tuned for more here on this channel and more reports coming every single day.